Okay, guys, so our learning target for today is that we're going to learn how to subtract integers. We're going to use this strategy called stop, chop, chop, and we're going to rely on how we added integers yesterday. So you should be on page 18 for our work today. Everybody should be on page 18. Make sure you're there. All right, so we're going to talk first of all about this strategy called stop, chop, chop. We use this strategy of stop, chop, chop when we're subtracting an integer. So let's just kind of talk through what this looks like. Oops, I don't want to cringe. Here we go. Stop means we're going to just totally leave the first number alone, like a giant stop sign. Don't do anything. Stop. Then what we're going to do is we are going to chop the subtraction into addition, which we're going to call chop. Chop the subtraction into addition every time there's a subtraction sign. And the last step then is we are going to chop again, and we're going to change the second number to the opposite sign. And that's the piece that gets a little bit tricky on what to do on that last chop. So we're going to talk about, first of all, the steps of how we do this. So step one, we are going to stop, chop, chop, which we were just talking through. It might not be clear yet on what you're exactly supposed to do, but that will be our first step once we learn how to do that. After we do stop, chop, chop, we're going to pick one of the three methods for adding. You had three methods that we introduced yesterday. We had the money in the bank example, we had the number line example, and we had the positive negative coin chart example. You get to choose. Okay, so here's how this first example works. So we have this problem here. It's -5 minus 3. Now we have a new rule in my class. We never subtract in Ms. Volkman's class, ever. So you would say, no, we will not subtract in Ms. Volkman's class. No subtraction allowed. We always convert to addition problems using math rules. So we're going to do what's called stop on the first number. So the first number, we're going to stop and leave it totally alone. So you almost could make yourself a little stop sign there. I'm just going to make it into a rectangle instead of an octagon because it's a little bit easier to draw. That's the first step called stop. So I've done my stop. And now I'm going to go do my chop. Chop means I'm going to change it every single time into addition. The tricky part is this third step, this other chop. This last chop means that we have to change the sign to the opposite. So what we're going to do is, maybe we'll take that screen shade for a second and kind of show you what's going on here. So we stop, cover the -5 completely. We chopped it to addition, and now we cover. And the sign that was there was positive. So what we're going to do is we're going to make it negative, and it becomes a -3. So again, let's walk through this over in this space. So we stop, we chopped it, and then we cover it. So maybe I'll get that screen shade out here again so you can kind of see what's going on. We cover it, and what kind of 3 is it? That's a +3. So what we're going to do is we're going to chop it into a -3. So then our answer becomes an addition problem. So now we have the situation where I owe 5, I owe 3, which means I don't have any money in the bank this particular time. I owe 8. Or you can walk the number line, or you can do a positive negative chart, any which way of how we learn how to add integers. So that's example 1 called stop, chop, chop. So we're going to do these bottom examples together. All right, 7th grade, here we go. This is subtraction sign. We say no, we never subtract in Ms. Volkman's class. We're going to change it to stop, chop, chop. So we put stop sign there. We chop to addition. And then we cover it. So I'm literally going to kind of cover all of this with my hand and look at this last piece. So if I cover all of the highlighter, think of that as my hand. It's covering all of this. What's left then is a 5. What kind of 5 is it? It's positive. Well, our job on that second number is to chop to the opposite sign on the second number. So we're going to make that a -5 because it was positive. So my situation now is I have $1 in the bank and I'm trying to take 5 out. Can I take $5 out of a bank that has 1 in it? No, I can take $1 out, but I cannot take 5. So my answer then would be -4. So your answer should be -4. All right, guys. Take a look at the next example. You said, no, we never subtract in Ms. Volkman's class. So what we're going to do is we're going to work through the process of changing to addition using stop, chop, chop. So we stop sign on the first number. We're going to chop that to addition. So we're going to run a chop right through that. So there's our stop, chop. And then I'm going to highlight it as if it's a big cover. We're going to cover it up. And we're going to take a look at the sign on the second number. The second number right now is negative, so we're going to chop it to the opposite, which becomes positive. So we have a situation where we owe 5 and we have 3 in the bank. Do we have enough money? So we have this bank. It has 3 in it. Am I able to take $5 out of a bank that has 3 in it? You should be saying, well, no. I can take $3 out of a bank that has, I could take $3 out, but I cannot take $5 out of that bank. That's not possible. So my answer then would be -2, -$2. All right, guys, let's move on to that next example. Next example, we said no, we do not stop, or we do not subtract in Ms. Volkman's class. So stop, chop, chop kicks in. So we have the stop sign here. We're going to change that subtraction to addition. Then we're going to cover that up and just look at the sign of the last number. That last number right now is negative. So we have to chop again because we have our stop. We chopped. We have to chop again. That's a negative, so we chop it to a positive. So that becomes $3 in the bank plus $1 in the bank is $4 in the bank. Take a look at that. Make sure you're feeling good about what we just did. All right, guys, 3 more to go before our summary. In our summary, then, we said no, we never subtract in Ms. Volkman's class. So we stop. There's step 1. We always chop to addition. There's step 2. And then I'm going to highlight this to cover that. And so we know that we are done with those parts. What kind of 4 is that? That's a positive 4. So our second chop should be the opposite sign. It's a positive 4, so we chop to negative. So our situation then is this. I have $2 in the bank. Can I take $4 out of a bank that has $2 in it? The answer is no, you can't. You could take $2 out, but you can't take 4 out. So you're short $2. So -2 would be your results. All right, next problem here. So we're going to stop. We're going to chop. So stop, chop. We have these guys right here. We have +2. We chopped it. We take a look at the sign of the second number. Right now it is a -8. So we're going to have to chop it to the opposite. We're going to chop right through the opposite and make it positive. So this is $2 in the bank and $8 in the bank means this I have $10 in the bank now that it's an addition problem. Last problem of the day, 7th grade. Here we go. We say no, we do not subtract in Ms. Volkman's class. So we say stop. We have that subtraction sign there, so we're going to chop right through that, make that positive. And then we have this +6. So if I highlight this and cover that and look at that last number, it's really a +6 right now. So we're going to drive a negative right through that. That becomes I owe 4 and I owe 6, which means I owe $10. All right, guys. So everything we did today is called subtracting integers. In my class, we never subtract integers. We always change them to addition problems, which means we use the strategy called stop, chop, chop, and then we are into addition form. So don't forget to stop, chop, chop. All right, guys. So your homework for tonight is to do page 19, 20, and 21. So you have 3 pages of homework tonight, page 19, 20, and 21. Have a fabulous night, 7th grade.